Uh, Boom. What up? What up? A2HH
Well,
live on a Monday. Coop in the building. Mike D here. Let's see. We got people in here.
we always got people.
Mike, they want me to apologize to Usher. Listen.
Yeah,
All
it's a
right,
nice
we'll
way to start the
start it
show.
there. I thought the show was phenomenal. I think Usher did an incredible job. You know what? Let me say this. I give the show a 10 for his part. And the fact that he did this at the age of 45 years old, moving like that, singing like that, what surprised me, and this is where my only doubts were, because I know Usher got a catalog. I know, his career is, just incredible career. My only question was I thought he was going to play it safe and go for records that audience might like, but he didn't. He went out there and he went with his strong records and it paid off. And I'm glad he did that. Great show, great performance. I mean, like I said, all things considered, I give it a 10 out of 10. If I'm taking any points off, it's because of the Alicia Keys break. I understand it. He needed a wardrobe change and they, have a big record together. But I just don't think that her record really went with the flow of, that show, in my opinion. And, people are speaking about her performance on that, but that's neither here nor there. But other than
Yes,
that,
it is.
incredible performance.
So, um, the records that I picked are the records that he played. As a matter of fact, the first two records that he started off with, told you he was going to do those
He
records.
played a lot of records. Like I'm sitting there thinking we're gonna get 4 or 5. Like how many did he do? I feel like it was like 12.
It felt like it's about 12 records. He
Yeah,
he
he did
ran
a
down the
lot.
catalog, Mike. He ran down the catalog. You don't have to call.
Yeah.
Uh, Bad girl. Um, you got it bad. My boo.
Somebody said
Yeah.
Miss
Nice
LB
and
said
slow.
I cringed when Alicia Keys hit that note. Listen, I don't even hear it
No,
anymore, guys. I've been
no, no,
talking
no.
about this for like 15 plus years, man.
So
Everybody's hearing what I heard 20 years ago.
I don't like I don't like how people are focused on the fact that he wrapped his arm around her from behind. Like, first of all, this is entertainment,
Yeah. They're
and the job
entertainers.
and your first job when you're on stage and you're entertaining is to be entertaining, and nobody understands that professionally better than Usher. And so everybody being like, "Well, that's Swiss Beats' wife." It's like, yeah, Swiss Beats' wife is an entertainer. I didn't hear Jay-Z tripping when he was up on Beyonce in the what video was it? Was that Naughty Girl?
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's Usher. Okay? Like, and people need to understand who Usher is. Usher literally, since before he had a record deal, when he was doing shows down here, was taking the prettiest girl in the room and making her the object of his performance. He did nothing different with Alicia Keys. We need to be more concerned with the fact that I don't think that the parts where he came in and started singing, he was supposed to. He seen her not being able to do a stanza of vocal runs to start the show, Mike. Like the
Hmm.
first note was bad. Like the first note was just egregiously bad. But Mike, she didn't catch her wins in the first stanza of the runs. And so he literally came in like the professional entertainer that he is and saved that ass vocally.
Yeah.
Forget getting behind her ass. How about save that ass? Because vocally came over and started harmonizing with her. Because that's what you do when somebody's not doing their runs right. You come and harmonize with them to get them in sync and in tune. So
Alicia
he's a
Keys.
professional's professional.
Yeah, Alicia Keys before Clive Davis signed her to J Records, which kind of brought Clive back in the industry, which is a whole nother story for a whole nother day. There's a 6 degrees separation between Usher and Alicia and the L.A. Reids and the Clive Davises of the world. But all that being said, these people have probably known each other for 25 plus years. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like they go way back to. I mean, I'm sure Usher knew Alicia Keys before the world knew who Alicia Keys was. Alicia Smith or whatever her real name is. You know what I mean?
She had a buzz long before Songs in a Minor.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, she was on Columbia, I believe. I remember she was on like Teen Summit and stuff. Like, well, people don't.
Yeah.
Well, I don't say people don't understand, but there were camps back then in the 90s where Destiny's Child were a part of, Monica was a part of, Alicia Keys was a part of those things too, and Usher was already on, like, you know what I'm saying? And the other part of that is people like Sierra and that next generation, they came up in those crews and those camps too, where talent was being cultivated at a young age. So saying all that to say, Usher and Alicia probably go back a long way as friends, musicians, showmen, and all of that. So yeah, they put on a performance on stage. They sold it. They did their job, and yeah, I didn't see anything outside of that.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And people are acting like he slapped her on the ass or something. It's like, no, not to be funny. I mean, it's like if your woman's an entertainer or an actress, other men are going to touch her. That's what you signed up for. I don't give a shit. I give a shit that she didn't hit her notes
Well,
because it's about the music.
I think what people are trying to pull from this is the whole Kiki thing, right? The Kiki Palmer situation, and they're trying to insert
Hey,
keys
it
into
ain't our fault that Kiki
that.
baby daddy insecure. That's what I'm saying. That ain't our fault that Kiki baby daddy insecure. Look here,
Well, there it is.
because here's the reality of the matter, Mike. You're a woman. If Usher see her, is she in the crowd? Oh, it's a wrap. You're just gonna have to accept it. Like, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
part of
It's
the
Usher.
show. It's part of the show.
It's part of Mike. You're gonna have to eat the food. Like Kiki
Well, it's
baby
part of
daddy
the
just
show.
didn't want to eat the food. It's like, no, you're gonna eat this food. That's Usher. If he calls a girl up, it's part of the show.
Well, I think what
Now if Usher
happened
trying to take
was,
now if Usher trying to take your girl home, then you have a problem in these streets.
well, two things happened. I think that Kiki was doing a lot, and then the other part of it was you have a generation that really, really cares about what social media is saying. And I think that
Mike,
that bruised his ego a lot. And I think that is what really
Mike,
catapulted the situation into what it became. What up,
Mike.
Leroy?
Kiki really wasn't doing a lot, Mike. To be honest with you, Kiki is doing what almost all the women do when they're not around their men.
That's
She
true.
wasn't doing a lot, Mike. She wasn't doing a lot. She was doing what women do when they're not around their men. The fellas ain't the only one to be out having a good ass time. She was having her a good ass time. Be like, yeah, I rubbed up on Usher, girl. It was great.
And shout out to her, too. Like, her guitar solo was dope on
It's my
You Got
girlfriend.
That. Yeah, she did her thing.
Yeah, I
The
love me
show
some
was
her.
well put together. Like I said, I love the fact that he was able to cram all those songs into one. Now, some people were saying they were underwhelmed with the show. I don't see how. Maybe it was that not having a stage part in the beginning. I don't know, but I mean the stage was coming. I knew the stage was coming.
I got chills when her came out. I love me some her, Mike. She's my
She did
favorite
her
artist
thing.
of this generation.
Mad Max
Now,
with the super chat. She's a
now,
good.
now, if Usher would have put his hands on her, I'd have a problem, Mike. He needs to keep his hands off my woman.
Mad Max with the
Keep your
super
hands
chat
off my
says,
woman, Usher.
"Congrats." He said, "Congrats, Pat. Enjoy your chip. Joey gonna put you in the spliff next season if he's healthy. I told you Joey B is the only one who could beat Joe currently. I guess he means beats Pat. Listen, that game. I don't want to sound like a sore loser. I don't really have a dog in this race, but that game seemed pretty fixed. I'm sorry, it just did.
I've heard that so many
It,
times
it
today.
I
Can I just
mean,
give you a quick?
the little field goal thing. I knew when that field goal debacle thing happened. I'm like, yep, Kansas City is going to win because how fitting is it for now? You guys can go down and kick a field goal and tie. And when they kept showing Taylor Swift, it's like, I already see what's going on. that bogus play where basically Mahomes got like a short field and was able to just throw it in for a touchdown. I'm sorry, man. Brock Purdy outplayed Mahomes. I think that
He
overall,
did.
the San Francisco 49ers outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs. I hate to see special teams lose a whole Super Bowl for a team. I hate to see that.
Special teams definitely lost the Super Bowl for the San Francisco 49ers the
Straight
other
up.
day. Um, Mike, I pulled up on you months ago and told you he has not played great in these 4 Super Bowls that he has played in, and he didn't play great yesterday. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him his props because here's the reality of the matter. First of all, Kyle Shanahan is a horrible big game coach, Mike. And I want to start right there. When it comes to no. You have blown 2 Super Bowls that you should have won as a head coach and a Super Bowl you should have won as an offensive coordinator.
Well,
He's
hold on,
blown
hold
them.
on,
So
hold on.
he's
Time out.
no,
What
he's
do you
blown
feel
it.
like? And I hate that for him because I saw him on that
I don't.
sideline.
Do better.
What do you think he did wrong specifically? Because all of the mistakes, the fumble, the special teams blunder where he didn't call a fair catch, and in the field goal snap or whatever, he didn't. He had nothing to do with that.
But he did have something to do with this, Mike. Fourth quarter in overtime, Christian McCaffrey until they can't take anymore.
Okay.
Out the backfield, catching, in the backfield running. The offense, when the game got tight and it went to the fourth quarter, you go to your most dynamic and your best offensive weapon. That's Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
And you design your offense around him when the game's on the line. Because here's also the reality of the matter, and this is not to knock Mahomes at all. He is very Tom Brady like in this sense, Mike. Well, if you continue to commit penalties and you turn the ball over, he's going to make you suffer.
Oh yeah.
And
Any
it is
great
only right
quarterback.
that you suffer. It's only right that you suffer now, Mike. Now, the turnovers, the coach can't control. But the penalties go back to coaching. And I saw a lot of penalties on the San Francisco side that I didn't see happening on the Kansas City side. That's coaching, Mike.
Yeah,
In
that's
the
fair.
fourth quarter, in the overtime, they were outplayed. That's coaching. It
Yeah, he
is.
stopped
And
giving the ball
so
to McCaffrey, and that shouldn't have been the case because Kansas City
that's the
couldn't
dumbest.
stop him.
They had Mike. The only person that stopped Christian McCaffrey was himself when he fumbled the ball in the first quarter. But
Hmm.
this is what I'm saying. You're worried about the special teams play. It's like, no, if McCaffrey doesn't fumble that football, it's probably 17-0 at halftime
Oh yeah, no, straight
or
up.
17-3 at halftime. And
And
so
the 49ers
much
were
like
moving the
Baltimore,
ball too. They were moving the ball.
yeah, they moved the ball better than Baltimore did. But much
Yeah,
like Baltimore, penalties and turnovers. You cannot afford to have penalties and turnovers when the best player on the field doesn't play on your team. Because what that does is that even if you have the best team, because the 49ers had the better team, the Ravens had the better team, but the best players on the other side of the field. And when you turn the ball over and when you have penalties, you balance that out. And that allows the best player to do what the best player did. Mike, as soon as it went to overtime, I was like, this game is over. Like,
yeah, I knew
and
that too.
and I just want to say this. We can start having some GOAT conversation about Mahomes, but here's why Tom Brady is really the GOAT. Do you know if post-prime Tom Brady doesn't exist, Patrick Mahomes probably wins 5 Super Bowls in his first 6 years, and he is the greatest player of all time. You understand, Tom Brady is the only thing that's really standing between him being the GOAT, like this early in his career, because the 2 years that he didn't really win, well, Tom beat him in the AFC Championship game, and he beat him in the Super Bowl 2 years later. That's the only thing that's really stopping him. Burrow got him one time, but the only thing that's really stopping his GOAT status is a couple things. First of all, I think people forget Joe Montana didn't just win 4 Super Bowls. He played flawlessly in 4 Super Bowls. Flawlessly. Like Patrick Mahomes hasn't had one Super Bowl performance that's comparable to Joe Montana's worst Super Bowl performance. John Elway is 2-3 in the Super Bowl. Those first 3 teams that he took, Mike, I don't know any other quarterback that could have taken those teams to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
including Mahomes, Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Montana, Brady. Brady wasn't taking those '80s Broncos teams to the Super Bowl.
No,
So
that's
John
true.
Elway doesn't get the credit. John Elway doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's still in this conversation, but only fair on a day like today for a guy with 3 Super Bowl rings and 2 MVPs before the age of 30. Is he a top 5 quarterback all time? Yes, he is. He's top 5 all time right now.
Already. But you know what? This
He's
is
better
what
than
I'm interested to see.
he's
And
better
maybe,
than Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and Peyton Manning. He's
I
better
mean,
than
it's
all
hard
3
to
of
say
those
that
guys.
he's not. It's hard to say that he's not. Based on
Fact.
his Super Bowl play, and I feel like, of course he won the games, but it wasn't as convincing as I've seen, from others. I'm interested to see moving forward in his career how many more of these he's going to win, or is it going to get to a point where, it could be a drought because he's going to have to change personnel, and he's a great quarterback. I'm sure he'll be fine changing personnel, but I just want to see.
The
Man,
biggest
back to the
personnel
super
change
chat. Go ahead.
the biggest personnel change he has to worry about is 2 things, because here's what I really think is going to stop his rings. First of all, I saw Travis Kelce age a little bit in this playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't expect him to be the same player next year. I think this is probably his last hurrah playing at the level that he's playing at as an all-time great tight end. But Mike, Andy Reid is arguably a top 5 to 10 coach all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think his real struggle is going to be when Andy Reid retires. Now,
Do you think
here's
that's
what he
happening
really
anytime
has.
soon? You think that's
I
happening
do.
anytime soon? Okay.
Yeah, I do. I do. As a matter of fact, Mike, I wouldn't be surprised if Andy Reid retired this offseason. I don't know if you know his personal history. He's had a lot of
Yeah.
familial issues, Mike.
Yeah.
And at some point, a man has to go home, even if your kids are grown, and kind of like handle those family issues, because his legacy's pretty secure. There aren't a lot of guys walking around with 3 rings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think, to be honest with you, the biggest issue that Mahomes is really about to have is that he's done so much so early. I think now people are really understanding what it's really going to take to beat him. It's like, and these teams need to start understanding this. You can't make mistakes.
Mm-mm.
And I think that the Ravens and the 49ers just hurt themselves with play calling, like very much so. But the league does take notice. And also people need to understand this. This team won with defense, not with Mahomes.
That's true. They
But
did.
when you have a defense and you have the best player, the defense just needs to put you in a position to win. They held the 49ers to enough field goals to put them in position to win, and they deserve credit for that.
I will
But
say this too, man. I do think that the 49ers defense outplayed KC's defense as well. But
they did.
those key moments, I mean, those key moments add up. And KC,
Well,
that's where the experience comes in at.
yes. Well, here's the last thing that I'm going to leave you with is that, oh no, Joe Burrow's coming back. Deshaun Watson's coming back if he can ever turn back into himself. And Mike, I truly do believe, and I'm not saying this because I was on their bandwagon, that Baltimore team's not going anywhere. And they need it. Like, that's one of those losses that should stay with them. And so I think Kansas City road is going to get exponentially tougher. But here's another thing, too, people need to understand. Most great teams in football work in a 5 or 6 year gap. And really what happened with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick is that they just stayed together long enough to get to their next gap, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first 5, 6 years, they were just like this. And then there was the gap where they were competitive, but they weren't winning it. And really what happened is that the 2 people who matter the most, the coach and the quarterback, stayed around and were great long enough.
Yeah.
Mike, Andy Reid's not sticking out the second part of the gap, so Andy Reid is really the key part of this. Andy Reid's not going to be around for the latter half of Patrick Mahomes' career.
And neither is Kelsey, so yeah.
And neither is Kelsey. So I say this respectfully. The way football works, Mike, for a long time, we thought Tom Brady's 3rd Super Bowl might be his last Super Bowl. Mike, for 10 years, that happened.
Yeah.
And then he went on another run and won another 3 with Bill. And then he went on another run by himself and won another one. Mike, we've never seen anything like that. And so football tends to catch up to you after about 4, 5, 6, 7 years of dominance. And I think the league has started to caught up a little bit because this was definitely their toughest road.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
for
if you tell me next year that the league is caught up to them and it's going to be some time before he wins again, I wouldn't be surprised, Mike. Joe Montana won 4 in like 7 years, and then he never won again, Mike.
yeah.
Troy Aikman won 3 in 4 years and never won again. Terry Bradshaw won 4 in 6 years and never won again. That's how the league usually works. And so that's why you have to take advantage. And that's why Tom Brady is the GOAT, Mike, because every year Patrick Mahomes has been in this league, he's been arguably in contention to win the Super Bowl every time,
Yep.
except for Tom Brady. But that's usually how football works when you have an all-time great player and an all-time great team, all-time great coach. Do I expect them to continue winning like this? No, because
Not at
most
this
teams
rate.
no, because most teams squeeze out 3 or 4 if they're lucky, Mike, and they've just won their third. I don't expect them to continue this. And people who do expect them to continue this don't really pay attention to football.
Mad Max of the super chat says, all you saying, Coop, is that you need a pat neutralizer, and that brings me back to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, no, I mean, or here's a smart idea. Maybe the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens doesn't throw the ball 82% of the time with the number 1 rushing attack in the league. You get
Yeah,
what I'm saying
that
about
was
how people
weird.
get in. That was wild. People get
That
in
was,
tight moments and they do foolish things. But what I hope is that San Francisco had learned from their mistakes. But my hope is that Baltimore has learned from their mistakes. Joe Burrow will be back next year. And I even said this, Mike. I think Lamar Jackson is like a top 3 quarterback. You know who the other guy is, right? That's Burrow. Burrow was hurt. I told
you
you
know
Josh
what,
Allen's not
man?
a top 3 guy.
I can see Brock Purdy continuously getting this far. He doesn't make mistakes. He's
He outplayed
efficient
Patrick
as
Mahomes.
hell. You know what I'm saying? Like he is going to complete passes. He's not going to throw interceptions. For that to be his first Super Bowl, I thought he played incredible.
No, he did. He played better than Lamar played in the big moment. Lamar threw into triple coverage on his own side of the field. Um, and this is what I mean. The same thing I held Matt Ryan liable for. I'm going to hold Lamar Jackson liable for. You're the MVP of the league. You audible out of those pass plays. You
Yep.
audible out of those pass plays and you run the ball. So some of the fortunate things that happened to Kansas City in the playoffs, I don't expect to happen again. Kelsey's getting older, Reid's getting older, but I think this has been a great run by them. But I do feel like this is probably the end of that run. Like it's hard to go back every year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very hard.
But
And
shout
I'm
out to
so
them. But shout out to them.
shout out to them and congratulations to Kansas City Chiefs, man. I don't want to sound salty or whatever, but just watching that, I was like,
Well, no,
dang, these little
I'm not
mistakes.
salty. They deserved it.
No, I
As soon
came
as San
across as salty saying that it looked rigged, but you know,
Man, as soon as San Francisco kicked that field goal in the fourth quarter, I was like, that's not going to cut it.
oh yeah, I knew that too. I knew that too. Yeah, have
Hold
you
on
been
one
hearing
second.
what's going on? I know we don't have a whole lot of time. Oh, oh, okay. I didn't even hear you get. I know we don't have a whole lot
Fight.
of time, huh?
Yeah.
What I was
Sorry,
going to
the
say
fight.
is, have you been hearing this, I guess, whole back and forth on the internet about it seems like a bit of a generational gap, right? Some younger hip hop fans don't really understand how Killer Mike won Album of the Year, Best Rap Album at the Grammys for Michael. And some of the older heads are saying that, yo, you're just not into lyrics, you know, your music is vibe music or whatever. And the young people are saying they don't know. Well, some of the young people are saying they don't know who Killer Mike is like that. But when they did listen to him, the stuff still wasn't connecting. Is there a generational gap when it comes to this album, Michael, and I guess hip hop's current listener?
There's always going to be a generational gap in hip hop. I think it's just becoming wider right now.
I think it's a very interesting thing, though, right? Like when you have, because let's keep it real, younger people are the ones that are able to kind of live hip hop day in, day out, whereas the older demographic, you know, catches on to whatever's going on, whatever they can, whenever they can get to it. And so for a younger hip hop listener who knows what albums are kind of penetrating the culture, making a whole lot of noise, and just very making ringing true, right? You know what I'm saying? The ones that's basically controlling the culture, if you will, for lack of a better term. When they see an album like Michael that they're not hearing like that win best rap album, and not even just win that, but kind of sweep all the categories in the Grammys, they're like, how did Utopia not win? Or, you know what I'm saying? And I think these are fair questions because I take myself back to, let's just say, when we were in high school. That's
Yep.
like if whoever was popping at that time was nominated, but they lose to like a Run DMC. And I'm not saying that to be funny, but we're talking about people who are 20 years removed.
No,
You know what I'm
no,
saying?
no, no. Let's just be honest about it. Let's go to a year like let's do a hypothetical 1997 right quick.
Right.
Like let's say Puff Daddy and the Family get nominated for No Way Out. Jay-Z gets nominated for Volume 1. Look, Nas
No,
and
Wu
The
Tang
Firm get
Forever was in that one too.
Mike Wu-Tang Forever. And let's say Nas and The Firm get nominated with Dr. Dre on the production. And so you have Nas, you got Jay, you got Puff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's that era, right? Imagine Rakim winning for the 18th letter, Mike.
I know.
We all would have been like, hold on, the God won. It's like I'm happy the God won, but it's like he just like what? Like for real? It's like no, like nigga, he should have won for Follow the Leader and paid in full. Like did they do it back then? Like because it's 97. Like the God shouldn't win that in 97, and so the younger generation actually has a very valid point. So this isn't like one of those get off my lawn moments, Mike. It's actually very valid. And Mike, and I was the one in 2020, and I still maintain this. Is was like, no, I love King's Disease 1. Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs, Mike.
Yeah, and I think that what the young people are asking, which is very valid, what quantifies this album winning in this category? Was it the buzz? Is there songs that are out there that are making noise? Because it's a very interesting album to win out rap album of the year because none of those things, it's hard to quantify. It's basically just straight up opinion at that point. Because
It
what's the big
is.
song? And even with scientists and engineers winning 2 Grammys, like how did that actually happen? And again, I'm a Killer
Mike,
Mike
nobody plays.
fan. I love Killer Mike. I love the
You're
Dungeon.
in Atlanta, Mike.
Y'all see me sit down with Gibb. I love these guys. I'm just trying to be objective here. And if young people have questions about scientists and engineers winning 2 Grammys, and and Michael winning Rap Album of the Year, I think they're justified in that because the way they see it, Coop, they're looking at Future being on that record, looking at 3000 being on that record, and they're like, well, these aren't standout performances from these guys that we're fans of, and we know very well. How did this win this?
I mean, Mike, specifically as it relates to scientists and engineers, Mike, we're in Atlanta. Nobody played that record, Mike.
No,
That record ain't spinning nowhere.
none of the records on
Ain't
that
nobody
album
playing
are
that
spinning.
record, Mike. I mean, no, specifically that record that won 2 Grammys, Mike. Like, think about this
You want to?
city, Mike. Don't tell me that it's playing like in Nebraska and in Nevada and in Arizona. It's not.
Well, let's
You know what I'm
ask the
saying? It
people
ain't
in
spinning
here.
nowhere. Ain't nobody playing that record.
Well, let's ask the people in here.
And
We got
Mike,
people
there's the
who
fact.
are we got people who are all over the nation, all over the world. Is anybody playing scientists and engineers where you guys are at?
And Mike, let's just address the elephant in the room. The song ain't good, Mike. And I'm tired of explaining to people the song ain't good.
It's not. And I don't mean
It's
that
not
in a
good.
disparaging way, but I think that it's very convenient for, some of us of a certain age bracket to say, hey, you youngins just don't understand. This is what a great album sounds like.
Like
But
we ain't nobody pulling up talking about some, hey man, put that scientists and engineers on, make that part of your DJ mix. Ain't nobody doing that. That song ain't good.
he has a song with Young Thug. and Dave Chappelle on there as well. I think that was the first single. And this is a generation that, by many respects, they look at people like Young Thug and Future as the trailblazers of their era. They're not talking about these records either. Their heroes are on this album, and it's still not ringing.
Man, look here, man. Future ain't say a word about this record. That's all you need to know.
No, and I'll tell you
Future ain't said a
this:
word about this record.
and Future's 40. If Future would have won a Grammy for his album, them young folks would be saying anything. It would make sense. Oh, we got I Am God coming in the building.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's get
I
him
just
in.
told. Yeah.
Let's get
I
him
just
in.
told him to pull up.
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
let's
Let's
get
do
him
it.
in. Shytown, stand up.
Chi-Town, stand up for real. Hold on. Let me oops. Hold on. 1 second,
For those of you who don't know,
guys.
I Am God, hailing from Shytown, is one of the more impressive MCs in the underground market that we've heard since we've started doing this show, Mike.
You know what? Let me get everybody on the screen. I know it just went to me straight up. And let's take this. There we go. We got everybody on the
With the
screen.
fellas.
I am God's in the building. How are you, sir?
What up?
I'm good. I'm good. Appreciate y'all having me on the platform. Much
No,
love.
no, man, we appreciate you coming through, man. Listen, man, your music, man, they've been telling us to check it out for a second. And then Coop
Thanks.
checked it out. And then Coop told me to check it out. Man, official, man. And props to you,
Gratitude.
man. Coop, I'm gonna let
Yeah.
you go.
First of all, I just want to salute you because when I hear your music and when I hear you rap, I don't hear a quote unquote underground rapper. I hear a great MC. And
That's
so
love.
I feel like sometimes, when you're dope and you haven't made it above the surface yet, it's real quick to be like, oh, he's a great underground rapper. It's
Right.
like, nah, fuck all that. You're a great rapper. Like, your concepts are great. Your sequencing of this project is great. The skits and the interludes are appropriate. Your bars are high level, A level bars. Your subject matter is diversified and understandable while your wordplay is complex. So you're bringing a lot to the table and you're offering a lot. And so I don't want it to be typecast as you being an underground rapper. To me, you're just a rapper that hasn't bubbled over the surface yet. And hopefully you coming on the platforms like this, because we know people sneak in our chat all the time in the industry, is going to get some notice and some notoriety for you to help you take you over the top
Nah, that's
because you
love. That's
deserve it.
gratitude. I definitely appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the more influential cats such as yourselves is definitely, you know what I'm saying, starting to take note, you know what I'm saying, take notice, I should say, you know what I'm saying, and tap in. So it's a great feeling. It's like I was telling you earlier, like I mess with y'all platform. You know what I'm saying? I mess with the, you know what I'm saying, according to hip hops, the fresh out hip hops, the rap round tables, the dead end hip hops, like y'all who I tap into, you know what I'm saying, when it come to this. You know what I'm saying? So to be recognized by y'all, that's definitely several steps in the right direction for me. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long time coming and finally it's starting to seem like it's paying off. You know what I'm saying? They always say it get greater later. Just stay down and just continue to be who you are and do what you do and put your best foot forward, you know what I'm saying, and keep getting better and sky's the limit. No, sky is only the view, I should say. Sky ain't never the limit. Sky is only the view. So yeah, I appreciate y'all. Like I'm happy to be here, man. On my
I
soul.
mean, listen, man, we don't say this often on this show, but your bars are so high level. I would love for the people that are in the room right now, if you could spit something. You know what I'm saying? It could be something from the project. I ain't even ask you to, what I'm saying, freestyle or nothing like that. But just
Right,
so
right.
people understand that, what I'm saying, we're not just gassing. You
Okay.
know.
No.
All right, so I actually give y'all something from the title track. I give y'all the first verse from the title track for those who ain't heard it. For those who have heard it, you'll recognize the bar. So I say, The diabolical, highly methodical, erotic, psychotic, maniacal, flow undeniable, hypnotic, step in the vocable, spit the quotables that I jotted, give them to the masses in return for cash that I deposit, then reinvest it. Don't bite my shit, it's poison, it's not to be ingested. End up needing that EMS shit, I'm gonna be respected. Heron flow, you need to inject it, fuck around and overdose. Get found bleeding and breathless, food for thought like I'm feeding them breakfast. They fiending for seconds with meager effort. I make it clear to see who the best is. I'm him. Tell every nigga in your top five, you cock ride, they not live. Disrespect will not slide. You food if we do not vibe. Long as I'm overlooked, niggas cannot thrive. They go for rookies as well as the top guys. Respect me like a stop sign that's in a school zone with 12 watching. You either fall victim to shells popping or sale blocking. It's a dirty game. Niggas will kill you because you a worthy name. Goof ass rappers want to play the trenches with 30 chains. Quiet as kept, niggas give me quiet respect. But I set fire to the mattress while niggas quietly slept. I'm a problem with no resolution, irreparable damage with no restitution. Niggas is clowns, but less amusing. I'm the best, including whoever. I'm too clever. I like them pretty and thick with a strong jawbone like Shorty Chew Leather. A true stepper, don't like them underage. I'm no Hugh Hefner. Niggas gas cause the flow electric like a new Tesla. Too blessed to stress, niggas too extra. Suplex the shit up out of you, plus buddy, you next to. You best to step your demonstration up. You in the field, you better lace them up. You should have been swallowed, bitch. You a waste of nut. Thumbing through them blue legal tenders till I got paper cuts. If I ain't in the guts, la mama give me your face to fuck, then I replace the slut. You know what I'm
Man, see,
saying?
yes, y'all got to go check this
Yeah.
project, man. Yes.
Gratitude. Bloodstained
First of
Suede
all,
2, I Am God and Clipto streaming well. My bad,
Yes,
cool. Go
sir.
ahead.
so a couple things. First of all, I love that you spit that verse. That's one of my favorite verses on the album. No, it's one of those things. It's like, oh no. You had my attention, but then you kept my attention. Like when you spit shit like that. So, for me, whenever I'm interviewing somebody, my process is always not just to get to know the music, but to get to know the person a little bit. And so I know you're hailing from Shytown. My family on my dad's side is originally from Youngstown, Ohio. So we got some Midwest ties. So I know a lot of people from the South side and the West side of Chicago. And
Yes, sir.
and I'm fortunate enough and cultured enough that I actually know a couple people on the north side and up in the Buffalo Grove area in the suburbs. When I talk to people from the
Okay.
south side, from the west side, and then I talk to the white people, I get 3 different versions of Chicago. So I want to
Absolutely.
know. So I want to know A, where you're from in Chicago,
Okay.
and I want to know your perspective of the city, like coming from where
Okay.
you're from. And the follow up question to that is that why is the West Side and the South Side so competitive with each other about everything? About everything. Yeah, you thought I didn't know that. Yeah, y'all are super competitive with each other, like basketball, shooting
Yeah.
dice, rapping, making beats, like you name it. Like the West Side and the South Side is like a competitive fervor to it that's really not like too many major city towns. So talk to me about it.
Well, I'm originally from Leclerc Courts, you know what I'm saying? That's Southwest side. So Leclerc Courts, a now defunct project complex, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to LC crazy. They took the buildings, but they can't take the memories. They tore them down in 2009. My first few years, you know what I'm saying, after being born, I was out west on the west side, you know what I'm saying, at my mama pop's crib, so my grandfather crib. But around right before I was 4, we moved to Leclerc Courts. And that southwest side, you know what I'm saying? Like I consider myself more of a south sider though, because when I wasn't in the hood, I was out south, you know what I'm saying, 83rd and Racine, you know what I'm saying, 63rd and Western, you know what I'm saying? I went to high school on 55th and Low, 55th and Garfield. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm from the southwest side of Chicago, Leclerc Courts.
Okay.
As far as, the south side and the west side shit, music wise, if you take it back to the 90s, all the notable Chicago artists that came out at that time was predominantly either from one of them sides. So you had like, shout out Matt's crew, you know what I'm saying? Because that's one of the earlier crews from Chicago, mastered all that shit. Shout out Color One, you know what I'm saying? Psychodrama, Drama Ward, Twister. A lot of them came from, Matt's crew. And that's like West Side, you know what I'm saying? So when you talk about West Side, you got dudes like artists like Psychodrama, you know what I'm saying? You got Do or Die, rest in peace, Johnny P. You know what I'm saying? You got Triple Darkness, you got Snipers, you got Twister and the Speed Out Mobsters. When it comes to the South Side, you know what I'm saying? You got dudes like Common, you know what I'm saying? You got I think No ID from out south. Ye, you know what I'm saying? He from out south. Lupe being from out west, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it was kind of a rivalry back then, you know what I'm saying? More like a friendly rivalry because you had tracks, the legendary tracks, the shutout tracks, was like the common thread, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of that. Because he produced a lot of classic material for a lot of West Side and you know what I'm saying, South Side artists, as well as like some North Side artists too. But I just think South Side and the West Side traditionally for Chicago been a more popular sides, you know what I'm saying? But love to the North Pole, love to the guys over East, you know what I'm saying? And for me, the perception of Chicago is just like, they call us the city of broad shoulders, you know what I'm saying? Like real blue collar type shit. But I feel like Chicago gives us this sort of like this almost cockiness. It's a confidence. It's an aggressiveness. I feel like you could tell a Chicago motherfucker about the way they walk. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you can hear it in a dialect, but like we very aggressive. Like for instance, like you could take downtown. Like now, downtown is a very unassuming part of Chicago. You don't expect nothing to get crazy down there, but it has. You know what I'm saying? But just the pace in which you have to keep up with walking them streets downtown, like it's very busy. Like, you know what I'm saying? You'll get knocked around almost like I never been to NY yet, but almost like from what I've seen, like Times Square-ish. Like you have to, you know what I'm saying, know how to maneuver, know where you going, get where you going, get about the way. Because everybody is trying to get to where they get to. So I feel like even with that, with the aggression, you can hear it come across in the music. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a certain passion and aggression, to how I put my shit together. And I definitely think that's a direct effect of growing up in Chicago. So I feel like, you know what I'm saying, Chicago is an aggressive city, that a confident city. I feel like sometimes an overlooked city, an underappreciated city when it comes to multiple things. But, as Chicagoans, we always got this chip on our shoulder. And I also feel like they get a bad rap, you know what I'm saying, from the drill shit. And that's kind of where the hashtag Chicago never forgot how to rap come from. It's like, I feel like motherfuckers think like you hop off the plane and you're going to get shot. Like, it ain't like that. It's like, yeah, well, you got your rough areas and but for the most, it's love. You just got to know how to move. That's all it is.
So musically, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was
that.
just gonna ask, like musically, like what's next for you? Because I mean, you clicking on all cylinders right now.
So just trying to further the brand, I got a decent little surprise, you know what I'm saying, for the next project I put out. Like I just gotta, you know what I'm saying, keep that all under wraps right now. But it's like just trying to further the brand, the I Am God brand. For those unfamiliar, the name is I Am God, I Am GAWD, and that actually is an acronym for I Am Getting Ahead Without Devolving. So when you break that down, you know what I'm saying, it's I am getting ahead without devolving. I get a lot of, well, not a lot, but I get pushback sometimes from, people who take pride in their religion, and no disrespect to nobody religion, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, if you look at the Bible say we made in his image anyway, you know what I'm saying? So if you really look at it, like all of us, we are God, you know what I'm saying? Like, and not to be cocky, like we gods walking amongst, you know what I'm saying, mortal men, but we all have some of that divinity within us. It's up to you to tap into it, you know what I'm saying? So I stand on it. You know what I'm saying? That's a strong name. I feel like it fit my personality. It fit the music. But, just pushing the I Am God brand forward, the No Mediocre brand, that's my company, No Mediocre. And just trying to further it, like getting outside of the city, outside of the Midwest, you know what I'm saying, performances, you know what I'm saying, traveling to different spots and just like getting them in with higher level MCs, you know what I'm saying, MCs on a higher plane who have a brighter spotlight on them, and just continuing to do my part in pushing Chicago hip hop forward and pushing the culture forward as a whole.
Okay, one of my questions was where does your name come from? So thank you for answering that. So now we understand. No. I've been fascinated. I think you follow the show, so I'm a believer and not judgmental, but I did want to know, where that connotation came from. I love the acronym. I love acronyms. I mean, I'm from the old school, so it's like, it used to be, it's like the acronyms was part of like showing your creativity and your intelligence as an MC as well. So I like to hear that that's an acronym and kind of appropriate. I do agree with you. There's a divinity within all of us. It's just a matter of if we tap into it or not. what do you feel like what do you feel about the Chicago rap scene right now? Because one thing that I notice is not just you that got bars. Apparently this crew that you got with you and the people around you can
Right.
rap too, because one of the things that I was really impressed with about your project is that usually when somebody is coming out with their project, there are features. If the features are local guys as well, usually aren't up to par for the guy that's like super up to par. Your guys are up to snuff. Everybody in your
Absolutely.
crew can flow. And so I want to
Absolutely.
know a little bit about these other guys that I'm hearing on this project that I'm so impressed with as well, because I feel like they do a great job of keeping pace and adding their own flavor and style. And I can tell how Chicago has so many different styles just from listening to your project, because everybody else that stepped to the mic had a different style than yours. They weren't rapping the same as you, but the bar
Right.
level and the bar work was still high though.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm glad you spoke on that. I'm glad you pointed that out. As a matter of fact, like this past Saturday, we just had an incredible show at a legendary hip hop spot in Chicago called Subterranean. We call it Sub T for short. It's in the Wicker Park area of Chicago, and
Okay.
we had the downstairs portion. It's a multi-level, you know what I'm saying, venue, and we had the downstairs portion, which is known for smaller gatherings, and that shit was like
Mm.
over capacity. You know what I'm saying? The show was from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. We went a little over 2 a.m. and it was over capacity to about 2 a.m. So I got to give a big shout out and a big salute to the homie Water, who was another dope raw ass Chicago MC. That's Waterr. He actually just put out a project with Wavy to God called Watch the Shore. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So if anybody is interested in tapping into more Chicago MCs, Water is definitely one of them ones. But getting to the MCs is actually on a project. Like we got to start with like the bro Green Slime, because he is on track number 2. You know what I'm saying? Along with the homie Rim from Brownsville, Brooklyn. Shout out to Rim. Shout out NY. You know what I'm saying? But the homie Green Slime, he affiliated with Mick Jenkins' crew. You know what I'm saying? He actually DJ for Mick
Okay.
Jenkins. You know what I'm saying? He produced and he an MC as well. So we got Green Slime, dope ass MC. I respect him with a G. We got my brother Rufus Sims, formerly known as Weasel Sims, on track 3, Must Don't Know. And bro is a beast. You know what I'm saying? Like work ethic, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? The bars, you know what I'm saying? The style. Like he just put out his last project, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was it house arrest? It was either house arrest or bond hearing. I get them confused, but bro is a dog. You know what I'm saying? But check both of them projects out. Rufus Sims, bond hearing, Rufus Sims, house arrest. My bro Vic Spencer. I mean, Vic Spencer, you know what I'm saying? He been putting it down for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever motherfuckers come through the crib and they, you know what I'm saying, a higher level, higher profile artist, they tap in with Vic. You know what I'm saying? So Vic Spencer, he a monster. You know what I'm saying? He actually dropped the same day I dropped. We both dropped on the same day, and his joint is with Super Legend. It's called Be Double Clip Tight. So definitely go check him out. You know what I'm saying? Streaming there. Well, who else I got on there? My homegirl Micah Estelle, who is like, I'm gonna stop saying this because I want her to have her own light, but I feel like she like a reincarnated version of Lauryn Hill. You know what I'm saying? She's super soulful, got that raspiness to her voice, but she rap too. You know what I'm saying? She's super dope. Who else I got from the crib on I think that might be it from the crib. I know I got my homie JR from North Carolina on now on the last joint. You know what I'm saying? He affiliated with Ransom. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to homie
He
JR.
got
He a
busy.
dog too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 I was actually,
yeah,
him and Ransom got a track together that's a personal favorite of mine. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. You probably know the record I'm talking about, though.
yeah,
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 I didn't know
absolutely.
JR's from Carolina. Where in Carolina is he from?
I don't know exactly where. I just know he from North Carolina. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
But yeah,
I'm
bro
originally
is a
from
dog.
Charlotte, so
Okay,
I always
yeah,
like to check for
yeah.
my North Carolina people. Yeah, yeah.
I
That's
So
love
what's up.
y'all
it
coming together
appears,
like that, man. Like all of the people with bar work coming together. I think Chicago could definitely be the future of hip hop, man. It's wide open.
Absolutely, and real quick, let me just like shout out some more names. Let me say, you know what I'm saying, salute to the homie Clipto, because he produced the whole Bloodstained Suede 2 in its entirety. He responsible for the sonics of Bloodstained Suede 1 as well as Bloodstained Suede 2. So when you hear Bloodstained Suede, that's I Am God and Clipto. It's not just I Am God, you know what I'm saying? So I gotta give bro much respect, much love, because he been killing, you know what I'm saying, the instrumentation that he been providing and the joints he been providing. But when you speak about Chicago, like I said, you got Water, you got Rufus Sims, you got Vic Spencer, you got Green Slime, Micah Estelle. When you talk about the ladies, you got Freddie Oldsoul, you got Sweet Juices, you got Brittany Carter, you know what I'm saying? Jujilla, Panamera P, like Def C, Tyree Hakeem, who signed to Rock Nation, his brother Golden Child. I mean, it's so many of us, bro. Like, that's just like a small fraction of the names, like the homie Griffin, you know what I'm saying, who been he was signed to Face Mob, Scarface label, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many of us, bro, and we've been doing this for a minute. Like, it's just a beautiful thing to see, and I'm so happy that I'm a part of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, the show we just did Saturday night was, you know what I'm saying, Renaissance of the Culture. Again, salute the homie Water for putting that together. And it's like everybody came out and we showed up and we showed out, and Chicago came out to support, because one knock on the city is Chicago don't support its own. But Chicago showed up for that night for some underground, you know what I'm saying, MCs, you know what I'm saying? But we put on a hell of a show. So yeah, Chicago definitely up next.
I'm glad that you did all those shout outs, because I'm somebody that loves to do research, and I'm literally about to go pull all these people up and pull the
Please
clip
do.
from this and start checking these people out, because, you know,
Yes.
and I told you this when we talked behind the scenes, it's like, well, my main purpose when I started doing this is to make sure you and the people that you're talking about see the light of day the right way. Because Mike B
Mm-hmm.
and I have had conversations about how we felt like when it was our turn as artists, we didn't get the proper support from the proper channels. And I never wanted to be somebody that was blocking the channel. I wanted to be somebody that was opening up the canal and breaking the dam down. You know what I mean? So thank you for mentioning all those other artists, because now you've given me more stuff to listen to, because I'm always looking for some dope hip hop to listen to. Now, with that
And
being
tap in with
said,
Fillmore Green too, because last year he just put out an incredible body of work with Apollo Brown, Cost of Living. So Fillmore Green too,
no,
can't forget
no.
about bro.
I've heard that project. I've heard that project.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already familiar with
Okay.
him, but I'm
Okay.
yeah. But I found out about him because I fuck with Apollo Brown stuff, though.
Yes, sir.
So who are your influences, or some more notarized influences? Because I can tell you've obviously been influenced by the cats around you and by the city,
Absolutely.
but who are some of your influences that people may be more familiar with, like that made you want to do this? Like for Mike and I, we both always go back as guys that were raised in Atlanta. It's like Outkast was super big for us in
Mm-hmm.
terms of making us believe. I think you, from following the show, it's like I've told people plenty of times I never really wanted to rap till I heard Illmatic. So like Nas, Tupac, and Outkast were always my inspirations. Who are your inspirations as artists?
Well, first and foremost, I gotta say artists from the crib like Twista, Do or Die, Psychodrama, Crucial Conflict. Like, just seeing somebody,
Crucial.
like, it's funny because, like, as a shorty, I used to dance, and you know what I'm saying. It was a talent show at the Field House in the projects, and when Twista was tongue twister, you know what I'm saying, like he performed, and lo and behold, I never knew that he'd be Adrenaline Rush Twister. You know what I'm saying, but like definitely the hometown heroes, you know what I'm saying? The Twisters, the Commons, the legendary Traxters, even Kanye, Lupe, you know what I'm saying? All them. But like, they showed me like the 90s crop of Chicago artists showed me how to rap, taught me how to rap as far as our own style, because you know Chicago had that bounce, that double time. But it was actually New York rappers that taught me how to rap. So Nas is my GOAT. I get my introspectivity or introspectiveness, whatever word is appropriate for this occasion, from Nas. Like, my storytelling come from Nas. You know what I'm saying? Like, my intricacy was still trying to be understandable and clear, come from Nas. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't always a huge Nas fan. I had to get a little older to appreciate cats like him, Wu-Tang, you know what I'm saying, so on and so forth. But once I hit that level of maturity, like, it was the introspectivity that kind of spoke to me, because I was never like, you know, a popular kid in school or nothing like that. I was always to myself and analytical, you know what I'm saying? So Nas is my GOAT first and foremost. So I definitely learned a lot from him. Artists like Kiss, you know what I'm saying? For a while, Kiss was like the master of the 16s in that early 2000s era, you know what I'm saying? So, like, listening to Kiss and the Locks, like, just put a battery in my back. And they also taught me life lessons as a young black male growing up without a father. You know what I'm saying? Their music was real integral in teaching respect and loyalty and discipline. You know what I'm saying? Um, the greats like Biggie, Tupac, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I get my passion from Tupac, and also the need, not necessarily the ability to, but the need to speak on like real substance. You know what I'm saying? To give real substance in the music. Cube is a big influence of mine. Death Certificate is one of my favorite albums. You know what I'm saying? I love Death Certificate. Just that
Ours too.
socio-political, yeah, that socio-political
Yeah,
commentary, bro. Like him and
yeah.
Pac, like I feel like I took that from them the most because I consider myself I don't consider myself a conscious rapper. I consider myself a rapper with a conscience. You know what I'm saying? So I'm that everyday man. Like I always say, I never wanted it to be a difference between I am God and Tobias West the man. Like he is I and I am him. They one and the same. So,
Mm.
I am God is just a musical extension of that. So everything that happens in my real day-to-day life, I want to be able to express that concisely within the music. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I do that so I can give you a hustlers and survivors when I'm talking about the struggle of being a indie artist, you know what I'm saying, overlooked or whatever you want to call it. I could give you a If You Down, I'm Ready, talking about the ladies. I mean, I love women, you know what I'm saying? I could give you a Bloodstained Suede 2, the title track, that's aggressive, you know what I'm saying, that's gritty, that's grimy. I come from that. A part of me is that. So my mission is to always give you a different look. I don't want to stay static as an artist at all. You know what I'm saying? I don't plan on going far left on no Kendrick Lamar or nothing like that. Much respect, but it's like as long as I can feel it and it's true to me, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I got a good enough ear that if it sounds good or not, or if I'm doing something I ain't got no business doing, I could give you a whole nother level to where I'm singing, harmonizing on the hook and the double time flow and all that. Like these the goats that I learned from. You know what I'm saying? They did it all.
Well,
So I love I love everything that you're saying because I can hear it on the album because I can
mhm.
hear the New York influence on your style, but I can tell that you from Shytown from your flow, especially as I hear you more and more throughout the album because you have that what I like to call classic Chicago, great breath control double time flow. Like you do, like
Hmm.
you have it. It's like everywhere that I've been, certain people have certain stuff in the bag, and it's like when it comes to Chi-Town, y'all just got that double time flow in the bag. It's like y'all just do it better
Yeah.
than everybody else, and you always have. And so it's like I hear you have that, but I love hear you talking about how you're an everyday man. Because my favorite track on Blood, Suede, Stain Part Two is actually Dialogue of Living Men Part Two. That's the
Yeah, yeah,
record
that's
that
my
kind
baby
of
right
hit
there.
me. Yeah, that was the record that hit me where I was like, he's got something special about him because it's like my two favorite MCs growing up were Tupac and Nas as well. They made the simple everyday thing so gloriously beautiful to me.
Mhm.
Yes,
You know what I'm
yes,
saying? And I think you are in that vein of a writer where you're taking the subject matter that we're going through as black men and it's identifiable when you express it. It's not just about the ability to express it, it has to be that identifiable trait where you feel connected to the artist when you're hearing them talk about it.
You
And
have
so like
that
I can definitely
balance. You have that
yes.
balance.
that's
Yes.
life
And I
though.
like
You gotta have balance in life.
Mhm.
And I like that you brought up the track for the ladies because one of my favorite moments of the album is actually the interlude before and after the song. Like the song too, but the fact that you thought about like putting it together because I'm like, oh, dude knows that he's a lyricist and knows that he doesn't want to get typecast as just, oh well, I'm this high level lyricist. It's like, no, I got levels, I got different
Right,
flows, I got different song structures. And the fact that
right.
you actually had an old girl with the voicemails before and after, it's one of those
Yeah,
things that made the project feel complete to me. And it let me know that you
gratitude.
were thinking, but it let me know that you were aware of who you are as an artist and weren't going to be typecast, even by your own following. And I love that for you.
Very intentional. I'm a very intentional dude. Like in real life, when it comes to the music, I don't even want to separate real life from music because my music is real life. So I'm a very intentional individual. I don't really just do shit just to do it. Like there's always a method to the madness. Like with the whole I am God shit. Like I'm not just. I knew it was controversial. I'm not ignorant to that. Like that is one of the reasons why I chose that as a moniker. I knew it'd be controversial, but it's always a method to the madness with me. It's always a meaning behind what I'm doing. I very seldomly just do shit and it's like, oh, that just turned out to be what it is. So yeah, because this is like my sixth project since 2020. Like I got a long history before 2020. I think my music been on the internet since 2009, but I was going on under like different names and I pulled a lot of shit down. Like I actually
Wow.
quit in 26 or tried to quit in 2016 and came back in like late 2019, 2020. So, I just wanted to rebrand and start anew. So this is actually the first time I hollered directly at the ladies, you know what I'm saying, and these 6 projects. And I just felt like, it's time. Like, just because, and I'm a self-proclaimed underground artist, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the space I operate in because I feel like I'm not really chasing no deals or nothing like that or no industry standards because I feel like a lot of them is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these industry standards, it's like, they not applicable no more. You know what I'm saying? And we
Mm.
just fell for the okie doke because that's what it was back then. So yeah, man, like I just wanna, like, and all them vocals on that track, I ain't trying to say I'm Luther Vandross or no shit like that, but all them vocals, especially on that joint for the ladies, like that's all me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just trying
Okay.
shit and just like trying to, push the craft because as much as I want to be known as the best rapper, I want to be known. Like when I say best rapper, if a motherfucker asks me my list, it's artistry included in that. Because if that was the case, Cannabis would be #1 on my list or something like that, or Eminem would be #1 on my list or something like that.
I
And they
say
not,
these
you know what I'm
things all the
saying?
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, best rapper is synonymous with best with artists as well. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
And the artistry level of artistry differs, but I want to be as strong as an artist as I am an MC. Like, period.
Well, I know man, we got to have you come back by the show, man. I know we got to kind of cut it
Absolutely.
short tonight because I got to get up stupid early in the morning. But I do want to ask you this, because people in the chat are asking about this as well. Are y'all listening to Vultures? I mean, we got an MC from Chicago in here, and you know what I'm saying? Coop and I are here. What are y'all thoughts on Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign's Vultures project? If y'all heard it.
I just started listening to it today. And I was actually at work, so it's kind of like background music, but I definitely got a chance to hear some of it. And I feel like it's certain moments when I'm like, okay, Ye sound kind of reinvigorated. You know what I'm saying? Overall, I didn't get a chance to listen all the way through. I'm not gonna say it's trash. It's definitely not trash. For me, it's like that's something that I'm gonna enjoy way more in a certain setting, like in a public setting. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not nothing I'm gonna listen to and bump by myself. You know what I'm saying? In a public setting with motherfuckers chilling, you know what I'm saying, and the vibe is right, that shit gonna go crazy. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I didn't get through all of it, but from what I heard, like it's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like sonically it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And we all know Ye got that in the bag. You know what I'm saying? I'm familiar with Ty Dolla $ign. I ain't the biggest fan, but I'm familiar with his work. You know what I'm saying? And I think they got a decent enough cohesion throughout the project. I don't want to say too much because, like I said, I haven't listened to the whole through the whole project. But you know what I'm saying? It's decent for what it is. I definitely wouldn't say it's garbage or nothing like that. But for me personally, like I know it'll hit much harder if I was in a particular setting.
Gotcha.
I I agree with some of what you're saying, but not all of it. I'm a little disappointed in the production. I've listened to it
Okay.
more than you have, I think. I'm a little disappointed in the production. I feel like he's used these sounds in these attempts musically around the Yeezus and 808s time, and it feels very Yeezus and 808s ish to me. And I don't necessarily mean that totally in a good way. There
Right.
is some prime Ye on here though, which was good to see. He still flashes for me, but overall, I'm not going to say that it's trash because I don't think that it's trash. But I wasn't overall impressed with the album. But that's more or less of a reflection of what I expect from him because because of his stature and I mean stature musically because of the projects that he's made.
Right.
I think he is starting to become a victim of the former greater version of himself
Mm,
because
mm.
you're great when they compare you to the former version of you. So it's like,
Yeah.
well, this isn't my beautiful dark twisted fantasy Kanye. This isn't
Right.
late registration college dropout Kanye. And so when he doesn't hit that mark and hit that level, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed. I feel like production wise for him, he's trying to create a new sound.
Right.
But this is the new sound he created 10 years ago. So it's dated now, in my opinion.
Okay. I wonder
Because I
if
feel
some of
like
that is unreleased material because, like you said, he has certain flashes and his voice. Like I'm real big on like recognition of like tone and cadence. Some of
yep.
them joints I can't remember in particular, but he even sounded like the version of himself from around My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy time.
Yeah, I know
So
what song you're talking about.
I'm wondering
Yeah,
if some of this old music, or was he able to like pull that
yeah.
out himself and like kind of turn back the hands of time as far as like delivery? Because I'm like, damn, this kind of sound. This decent right here, whichever one it was, and I'm like, so I'm just wondering, like, is this old music with new music, or like, is this all new music?
I
See
think
that?
that I think that him trying to deal with these new sounds and I guess the artists that are um, penetrating culturally for this generation, I think that's him trying to kind of get away from I guess the old Kanye. It's kind of like when Michael Jackson was making music in the '90s, right? He couldn't go out there and make Dancing Machine in '95, right? Like he had to kind of update his formula. Now, granted, you don't like Keep It in the Closet and what was
Jam.
They Don't Really Care About Us and Jam. You don't like that as much as we like stuff that's on Off the Wall, but he still had to update his sound, and I think that's kind of what Kanye's going through as a producer and as an artist, where it's like you kind of want to get away from the classic Kanye era because you kind of define that era in a sense, and you can't repeat an era that you define. So you're trying to find something
Right.
new. Now he does hit and miss when it comes to that, but I think it's kind of just him trying to find that lane. Maybe that's why he's doing so many collaborations in this era too. But
Real
he
quick,
got to get in his
what
own.
y'all what y'all think about this? Because real quick, I feel like honestly, personally, I feel like Kanye artistically is level to where and I don't know his life. I don't hang around him, but from what I see from like whether it's through TMZ or whatever the case may be, I feel like Kanye is like parallel musically to where he is like personally, and it's kind of all over
Yeah.
the place. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it like to
Yes.
me, it makes sense. It makes sense when I listen
So,
to it. It's
that's who
just
he
it
is.
don't hit
Yeah,
like his old shit.
so can I tell you this to that point? On this album, to me, if you really want to know like my true thoughts of it,
Hmm.
the rhetoric and the commentary sound like a black man in his 40s that just got divorced that's going through a midlife crisis.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't
And it
disagree with
sounds
that.
that way to me, but also too, I know this from being divorced and I know this from being in my 40s. That's a very, very hectic time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And it's hard for you to keep your shit together when nobody knows you, let alone when the whole world knows you. And I do
right.
think that art imitates life. And not saying that his life is a mess, but one of the more disappointing aspects of this project for me was the sequencing. Because the sequencing let me know that he's all over the place and not as connected as we used to be. Because one of the things that made him so special was his ability to sequence an album and make it fit
Mm,
together and make it make sense even when he was all over the place. He's always been all over the place. He always knew how to pull it together.
right.
And so there's something about this project, like I'm just gonna be honest with you, it's like it's a lot of talk about women and having sex with women and like in the prostitution and stripper format of it. And
Yeah,
it's like, well, we knock Future and Drake for espousing that rhetoric at their age. Well, he's much older than them.
mm,
And so those are some of the things with the project where I'm like,
that's
well,
fair.
Ye was always taking us somewhere. Like
right.
this album, in a lot of ways, and this is what I mean. I can feel you, and I agree with you. It's like, oh no, in the right setting, it's like this goes because it's kind of got like the orgy, it's a vibe type of feel to it. And so, like being out
Hmm.
late at night with the homies, or being at an after hours spot, or being on a certain scene in a certain place, it's like, oh no, it kind of fits. But I don't know if that's what we want from like a 46-year-old rapper that's like the voice of his generation either. You know what I mean?
And
He
that's what
set
I
a
Like,
was thinking
standard
to
for
myself
himself.
listening to it too. And
Yeah,
granted, I didn't get through the whole shit. So, I heard the guys, shout out the guys over at Rap Roundtable. I heard they breakdown of it, and they were saying that it is some content in there, I guess, sprinkled throughout. So maybe I heard some of it, but maybe I didn't get to the particular joints they was talking about. But I did hear a lot of that, and I was kind of like, all right, I don't want to hear a whole album of that. You know what I'm saying? If that's the content you're going for, it's kind of like my dick, my dick, my dick. Like that's not the shit that I'm
Yeah.
listening for from
Well, here's my
nobody.
thing.
So it's like,
Too many tracks too.
Well, here's my thing. If you want to be ratchet, do the ratchet well. And so, like, for me, like a joint like Carnival, or when I hear Carnival, I'm like, no, play that ratchet shit. Some of the other
The
stuff that's
Carnival's
ratchet, I'm
hard.
just kind of like, Carnival's the best song on there to me. So, like, when I hear Carnival, I hear if this was the zone that you were in, this should have been the bar and the standard that you set for the other songs to sound like, you know?
absolutely.
Because I'm big on tone setter. So it's like when I hear Carnival come on, I'm like, nah, this is what it's supposed to sound like if you're gonna do this ratchet midlife crisis shit. Like if you gonna pull up, if you pulling up with the Bentleys and the bitches about to have a good time and party tonight, make it a real party, like the whole way
Do it at a
through.
high
You know what
level.
I'm saying?
Yes,
Like don't get
absolutely.
ambiguous and like have your daughter rapping on one track and then wondering if you're being a good father figure on the next track when for most of the album you're degrading women and then talking about am I a good father figure or not. It's like, well, not if she was with you when you were recording this album. It's like you're better off playing 808s for her. You might be a
I
better
thought
father
about that
figure.
too. I thought
Yeah.
about that
And
too.
so
We ain't perfect, but that was definitely one of the that was definitely one of the points that stood out to be like, damn, all right, okay.
yeah. So
I
so
hate
so
to
there's
cut
the thing.
everybody off, man. I gotta get going in a second. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
beat.
Well, hold on.
But go
I got
ahead,
one
leave
more
us with
question
something.
for I Am God before we
Uh-huh.
go.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's the greatest MC to ever come out of your wonderful city, sir? Who's your number one MC
Uh-huh.
from Chicago?
I'm gonna say Twister forever. You know what I'm
Okay.
Mm,
saying? Like that was my first major influence from the crib, so I'm always say
that's
Twister.
what's
Like
up.
Twister then gave me so much as an artist. Like
Okay.
that's number one for me.
Not
See,
common?
I'm about to
I
say,
love Comment. I love Comment, but for me, like y'all don't understand, man. Like hearing Adrenaline Rush, however old I was at the time, that was what 97. I don't think I
Yep.
heard it until 98. So
oh,
being 12 and hearing Adrenaline Rush for the first time, and even though I was 12, like I understood Twister got this clarity with as fast as he going, like I don't know if y'all familiar, but I'm gonna give y'all this. You know what I'm saying? I know we got to get up out of here, Mike. But
No, you
right
could.
before Adrenaline Rush in 90, I want to say 94, Twister actually dropped if y'all unfamiliar, the album called
Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Yep.
Yes.
yep,
And he
Yeah.
slowed it
yes,
down.
we're
This was
familiar.
during a time to where he was into it with Tretch from Naughty by Nature. And he slowed it all the way down. He only had one joint to where he did the double time, and it was called Scat Like That.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, like you could take those bars and speed them up and get Adrenaline Rush, and you could take the bars on Adrenaline Rush, slow them down, and get Resurrection. Like that's why I give like Twister the crown as far as the crib and like over everybody else who do the double time or triple time flow, because I ain't gonna say no names, but a lot of famous artists that do it, I feel like they just put a bunch of multi-syllabic words in there that just take up space, or
Mm.
a bunch of small words in there that take up space. To whereas Twister is very technical with that shit, and it's bars. So it's always gonna be T for me.
This is what I want to say about
So
Twister real quick, man. I think that his feature on Poe Pimpin' is probably one of the greatest features ever in
Of
hip hop
all
history.
time.
I
All
remember
time.
hearing that record, and I was like, I
it's one of
looked
the best rap songs ever, too.
I remember looking on the back of that
Facts.
Do or Die CD and like Sam Goody or
Facts.
whatever, and I saw that it was featuring Twister, and I was like, "Oh, he's not in the group. I'm not buying this album." But I remember, but I remember when my man James gave me the Adrenaline Rush tape. I think I was in like ninth grade or whatever. It was like '97, and I just kept playing that over and over, like the song Adrenaline Rush. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Get it like I know that whole album back and forth now. Like you put that
Absolutely.
joint on now, I know it now.
Absolutely.
So real quick, part of why I wanted to ask you that is that, well, the answer always outside of your city is usually Common or Ye.
Yeah,
But when you said that, I really thought, well, Common and Ye's style hasn't traveled through the city the way Twista's style has. Like Twista's
Facts.
flow has been more adopted in your city than Common and
Facts.
Ye's has. And so it makes sense that you say that. I was in 10th grade when Adrenaline Rush came out. It was one of those moments where I remember my man Nick Blackman had the CD on his desk when I walked into English class, and everybody knew I was ahead and I was an MC. And he was like, Coop, he was like, this Twista, nigga. I never forget when he told me because I was like, Twista? I was like, the nigga that did the. He's like, nah. He's like, you need to hear this shit, and handed me the headphones, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
One of them
oh,
moments.
so
Absolutely.
yeah. So I remember where I was the first time somebody put me onto Adrenaline Rush. It is one of those moments.
Hmm. Absolutely,
So
bro. That shit is a
hey,
classic, like undeniable.
Yes, sir.
hey, I want to say salute to you and your project. Salute to all the Chicago MCs. I'm about to check y'all out. We
We
definitely need
gotta
to
come
pull back
to
up.
Chicago and holla at you, man. And you gotta come back on the show too when we have more time. Like I hate that this even
Absolutely.
got cut short because we got a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, yeah,
Whenever y'all want me back, I'm here,
I was about to
man.
say,
It was a pleasure to be here
I
tonight.
want to, yeah. When I pull up to the shop, I'm gonna holler at you, like
Yes,
for
sir.
certain.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
We locked in, bro. Yes, sir.
yeah, yes, sir.
All
All
right.
right, we appreciate having you on, fam. It's been a
Yes,
blessing.
sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
appreciate you.
Chicago never forgot how to rap. Bloodstained, Sway 2 streaming everywhere. I am God, Clipto, no mediocre. Salute to the crib. Follow me, Twitter, Instagram at GodMC, GAWDEMCEE. YouTube, I am God, and just like that. We out there. Love to the guys. I appreciate y'all, bro.
Yes, sir. Of course. Of course.
Appreciate you, fam.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Let me get to these super chats real quick before we leave. CJ Kid
Hey,
said,
one thing, Mike.
"Yeah,
One
yeah.
thing, Mike. Before you read the super chats, fam is interview ready too.
Oh yeah, he's all together, man. I fuck with it.
He's got he's got all the tools. Yeah.
Yeah." CJ Kid with the super chat says, late once again, Mike. I saw you finally saw the email. LOL. He also says, also, Coop, I did great on my speech. Not only did I raise the bar for icebreakers, but they said for my first speech, I did third level performance. Never got so much praise in my life. That's what's up, man. Congratulations,
Oh,
CJ Kid.
CJ, I already knew that was going to happen, brother. Like the prophecy and the blessings are by design, and they're all over you, and it's just up for here for you, my brother. Yeah,
Everybody
not
said they want to
surprised
hear
at
my
all.
thoughts on vultures. You know what? I'm gonna spend this week listening to it even more. We need to do a whole. I guess we need to do a whole show. But I thought that breakdown was pretty on the surface, pretty good so far. I'm with you, Coop. I mean, there's a bar that this guy has set, and you gotta reach it. And I think that what you're talking about that's going on in this personal life clearly is spilling over into the actual music, and it's pretty evident right now.
Well, I'll tell you this, Mike. How about this? And this was my take, and then we can get out of here. And I have some deeper takes.
Yeah.
Mike, Stevie Wonder never made a great album really after Hotter Than July, Mike. It's his last great album.
Yeah.
That's not to say that he didn't have moments. Like Hotter Than July is like 80, 81. Over the course of the next decade, Mike, he had moments. Like I think Ribbon in the Sky is like 84. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's not like he couldn't like channel those moments again, Mike. But the guy that made Inner Visions, Songs in the Key of Life, Hotter Than July, Talking Book, The Wonderful Life of Plants, you know what I'm saying? Like that guy, Mike, album wise, was never the same after Hotter Than July. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, he hasn't been the same since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And I'm sorry, it's just like, and that's why I go back to that album and keep referencing it and have so much reverence for it, because not only is it the best album of its era, I think it's his last truly brilliant piece of work, much like Stevie Wonder's Hotter Than July. And Mike, there just comes a point, much like what happened to Stevie. Do you remember when Stevie stopped making albums?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mike. It happened about 12 years after Hotter Than July, and it just got to the point where it was like, hey, Stevie, you're Stevie. Time
Yep.
to go on tour and collect all the flowers that are coming from you from being arguably the greatest artist who ever lived. And all I'm saying is that when I listen to this project, it's like, oh no, I hear Ye sometimes, but not enough. But it just makes me feel like it's time, Mike.
It might be.
It's time.
And the only thing that's going to prove otherwise is if the music proves otherwise. They say, well, Eric Sermon said that he has an album coming that is Kanye and it's called Y3. So we'll see what
Mike,
that's like. But
he does
the
need
focus,
somebody else doing his beats.
he needs to get focused. I'll say that. And you're right. When you're
Right.
talking about the whole divorcee thing and him just wilding out or whatever, it's fun party music and all that, and it's cool. But is that what we want to hear from Kanye West? So
I mean, real talk. It sounds like this album sounds like that he got a divorce and has spent the last 2 or 3 years sleeping with women half his age, and he's enjoying it, which is usually how divorce goes. You know what I'm saying? But it is leaking into the music, and I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a nice way, Mike. I
Well,
don't
I'm
mean
gonna
it
go
in a
listen
nice
to
way.
it again because I've only given it maybe 1 or 2 listens or whatnot. But we'll vibe to it some
Yeah.
more, see if it grows even more. But from what I'm hearing right
Carnival,
now, I'm with you.
Carnival, and Problematic though. Yeah, I don't like that he took my tagline and made one of the best songs that he's made in years, but I'll be all right.
All right, man. We're gonna have to move our Mondays because I know our hours is kind of crazy on Mondays. We're gonna keep y'all updated on that. But the Wednesday show is definitely gonna be, what the Wednesday show has been. Now, I know it's Valentine's Day this Wednesday, so we'll give y'all a break on that. But yeah, we're gonna get our Mondays together. We're gonna keep y'all updated on that. But Wednesday's definitely gonna be Wednesday.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, everybody have a good night. I'm gonna try to get some sleep, Coop. Oh my God, I think I'm running on fumes right now.
Shout out
Good.
to I Am God. Appreciate you,
Yes, sir.
fam.
Appreciate it, man. That was a great interview. It was great talking to him. We need to speak to him longer, man. He's a dope
Yeah,
artist, dope individual, and I could tell that we see hip hop in a similar way.
yeah.
Hit like and subscribe, y'all.